performance over muscle, how to lose muscle size to perform better in the ring, in the cage, on the mats. Now, this is a video more for those individuals who are bigger on the muscular side. Yeah, you could be on the bigger side as fat as well. This video, I'm going to try to explain how to slowly shrink down in size without really losing any strength and letting that size you had, muscle size and strength, be transferred to a smaller body so you can be faster and have much better cardio. Now, in the cover photo, you see that on one end, I'm about 180. No, in that pic, I'm about 195. My arms were about 17, almost 18 inches. I was kind of thick. I was a little fluffy. I still had like a six-pack, but it was kind of faded out. The photo next to it is me kind of currently now. That picture, I was about 150, just leaned out. My arms are like, I would say 13, 14 inches, like really stringy Bruce Lee style. Now, the way I went from 195 to that was just drastically changing the way I trained. So in that picture where I was big, I did a lot of body weight training. That's all. I love body weight training. Push-ups, pull-ups, squats, really basics, not really any muscle-ups, dips, sit-ups, high reps, lots of food. Now, the thing with me was, because I stuck to body weight training to put on muscle, my body basically had to learn how to move at a heavier size with all this body weight training. So my athleticism didn't really go anywhere. It wasn't like I used weights to gain the muscle. The muscle was built just through moving my body. I got acclimated to moving around while I was putting on weight. So that really didn't really hinder my performance. For you, if you're like a meathead, you lift a lot of weights, it's okay. Lifting weights is not bad. It's just when you go off one end, just pure bodybuilding, curls, tricep extensions, and you don't do any fight training for a while, and you get a lot of good gains in the gym, bodybuilding style, yes, when you make the transition over, you're going to feel a little tight. But the way you can transfer it over is the way I did it. Just slowly and drastically, okay, switch your training protocols. If you really want to get good at fighting, you're going to have to cut down on the gym and the bodybuilding sector of things. The way you want to do it is you want to just train more. Of course, when you have a lot of show muscle, your cardio is just not going to be there. You don't train to bring oxygen throughout your body and to produce force against another human being. You basically train to pump the muscle up and to get bigger. And that's just the reality. If you want to keep some size, okay, you want to at least still lift about 2 to 3 times a week. Focus a lot on the power. Get a pump in, but focus a lot on your diet. Still eat a bodybuilder diet, okay? Which includes carbs, protein, some fruits and veggies. Just keep a well-balanced diet. Because with the added training, the fight training, you're going to be burning a lot of calories. So you're probably going to have to eat a little more than what you're used to, okay? So you're basically just going to go in a bodybuilding, bulking diet, lean bulk diet, okay? But for me, the way I did it was to really shrink down the size, because I know I fought in the ring before, okay? I fought in the cage before I got huge. So when I was fighting at 145, 135. So I know what it feels like to be lightning quick. When I blew up to 200 pounds, 195, 200, of course, it just wasn't the same. To get back down to my normal walking, fighting weight, it had to be a 2-step process. So one was fasting and carnivore diet. So what I do is I basically I'll still eat 3 meals a day, but I'll cut out all carbohydrates. This way my body goes into ketosis and it starts to use fat for energy. I burn up whatever sugar, carbohydrates, glucose, whatever's in me, and then my body just switches on to using fat for energy. So animal dietary fat that I put in my mouth and the fat from my body. Okay? So once my body kind of gets into that ketosis phase, of course you're going to start to get lightheaded. You're going to start feeling a little different. And once I know my body starts to feel different, like just almost like lightheaded, kind of almost hungry, always hungry, I'm starting to understand, okay, my body needs more fat. It needs more fuel, okay? And so what happens is I'll keep it at 3 meals a day, basically just steak, nothing else. Steak, maybe some ground beef, maybe some bacon, maybe some eggs, but mainly steak. For the protein to help recover my muscles and the fat from the steak to just give me fuel and get my body fat adaptive. Maybe for like a month, I'll stick with that. The next month, I'll cut it down to 2 meals and almost keep it in a fasting, intermittent fasting block where it's not even an 8-hour window. It's like in 5 hours, I'll have my 2 meals. I'll have maybe like a 10-ounce steak and 10 ounces of ground beef, and that's it, okay? So on top of cutting out the carbohydrates, now I'm taking out a meal. So what basically happens is, because my body is not taking enough protein to feed the large muscles, it's gonna start tearing down my muscles and using muscles for energy, okay? So this is how I slowly shrink it down. But even though my body is trying to use muscles to convert it to energy, the protein from the steak will help hold on to whatever I have. So if I eat about 150 grams of protein, basically it's just going to save 150 pounds of muscle. And that's what I want to get to, 190 to 150 pounds. So 150 grams protein, boom, boom, boom. Whatever calories and fat will just be strictly for energy, okay? So the first month, just really cutting out all the carbs, all the sugar, just eating steak, drinking black coffee, all right? This will really like slim you down. It slimmed me down real quick. And with this, I kind of got more, kind of like I still had my size, okay? But I was getting leaner. But I didn't want more of the size. I got to shrink the muscle down. So shrinking the muscle down is I'll take out a meal. So that's for the fasting. 2 meals, black coffee and water. That's it. Now, there's going to be a point where on top of doing the fight training, okay, I really cut down on doing push-ups, pull-ups. All I do is just fight training stuff. The only resistance I have on my muscles is doing sit-ups and weighted shadow boxing, okay? That's the only 2 things. I don't want to like stimulate my muscles for growth or to get pumped. I want to shrink it all down. So in that second month where I'm fasting, just eating 2 meals, my body really starts to, the fat kind of stays the same. I stay about 8 to 10% body fat, but the muscles, you can see my muscles starting to really shrink down. And with the carnivore diet, because I'm eating strictly meat, in these 2 meals, I can kind of up the meals now, up the calories, so to say. Not add another meal, but add more calories to those 2 meals. So now, as I'm shrinking, I'm eating more calories in those 2 meals, so my strength is still being retained. Okay, I hope this makes sense, but this is how I did it. I cut it down to 2 meals. Now that I see that I'm losing muscle, I can add more calories, more protein to those 2 meals to help for the recovery and just keeping my strength, okay? Now that, do that for about a month on top of just switching all the training to just fight training, I saw that, okay, I'm at a good weight, I feel slim, I'm a little thin, and I increased my cardio, my speed, my power is still kind of there, but now it's kind of lagging, okay? just because of the 2 meals. Now, what I'll do after that month, in the 3rd month, okay, is I'll still keep the fight training. I won't add any resistance training. Now the diet switches. I'll go back to 3 meals a day, but on those 3 meals, I'll add carbohydrates. The first 2 months was basically almost starvation diet. You're taking out the carbs. The first month is just straight carnivore, 3 meals a day. Second month was intermittent fasting, 2 meals a day, still carnivore. Those 2 months was just like a starvation diet to lose the size. Of course, performance is going to be hindered because you're just eating less and you're taking out a lot of calories, a lot of foods, okay? In the 3rd month, what I do is I'm adding back carbohydrates. Now I'm at a point where my body is slim, I'm trim, I feel good, the cardio is there, the power is slowly diminishing, the energy is slowly diminishing. So now I'll eat some carbohydrates, I'll add another meal, so breakfast, lunch, dinner, I'll add little bits of carbohydrates. Now my meals are structured mainly for energy and performance. I don't have to really calorie cut anymore because I'm at the size that I want to be, okay? So if you're a bigger guy, I suggest you do it on a 3-month run. You switch all of your bodybuilding training straight to fight training, okay? First month, carnivore diet. Second month, carnivore with intermittent fasting. In those 2 months, 60 days, if you do it correctly, just straight fight training with the carnivore diet, you're gonna get lean and you're gonna lose some of that muscle, but you should get faster and it should be easier to move around because you're losing a little bit of muscle and you're losing a shit ton of fat, okay? Once you get to an ideal weight within those 2 months, then in the 3rd month, you start to add carbohydrates, good carbohydrates, fruits, potatoes, rice, okay? And the meals are structured now for energy and performance. Those first 2 months are just to hold on to whatever muscle that you need. This is why the fight training is very important, because if you're doing, let's say like MMA, you do your grappling and stuff, your body is gonna always hold on to what it needs. So let's say if in those 2 months you just run, you're probably gonna lose way more muscle because your body's like, dude, you're not feeding me what I need. On top of that, we're not even using the muscles to lift anything. So why do I need it? So we'll use it and we'll really shrink down, okay? If you want to keep your strength with a little bit of muscle, do a lot of heavy work, heavy bag work, grappling. If you're going to go into mixed martial arts, so heavy bag, grappling, do some body weight workouts here and there, but still stimulate the muscle if you want to keep some muscle and a lot of your strength. But if you really just want to just thin it out, by all means, carnivore diet, lots of cardio, okay? But again, those first 2 months are just going to be for shrinking you down, okay? Then the 3rd month, purely for performance. And that's what you want to get into. You don't want to really worry too much about your diet. You basically just want to eat to recover for energy and to perform. And as a fighter, coming from a bigger guy to getting into fighting shape, that's all you basically want your life to revolve around. Okay? It's just recovery, energy, performance. Now, that's also with the mindset. Same thing, okay? Bodybuilding was just eating to recover and to grow, or eating to recover and shrink down. When you come into the fight zone, it's all about just recovery, energy, performance, all right? Hope this video helps. Remember, like, subscribe, share, leave some comments below. Let me know what you want me to talk more about. I'll be dropping more about how to build speed, how to build that knockout power. I got some videos already, how to condition those knuckles. Can you see that? You can't really see, but oh, you see how big that my knuckles are a little bruised from just hitting the heavy bag with really thin gloves. Just stay tuned and always remember, train hard, be kind.